Welcome back, Fantasy Endgame family, Fantasy Endgame baseball, fantasy baseball players. It's Sunday, and you know what that means if you were here with us last year. It's time for our two-star streamers. But really quick before we get to that, because we just did have opening, weekend, even though it technically started on Thursday, but it's pretty much opening weekend, and we've already had a lot of crazy stuff happen. Pierre, just real quick, what's your quick overall thoughts on the first weekend of baseball so far?
You know what? I feel like I don't know. It was almost too easy. We haven't had a major injury yet, which is almost like you expect it to happen, right? Some pitcher to blow their arm out and no crazy things. On opening day, sometimes you have like somebody come out of nowhere and hit 3 home runs or, something. I haven't had a lot of weird stuff lately, except the fact that the Yankees can't stop hitting home runs. But I guess that's not that weird, which it's funny. Look, it's a long season, but you remember you're debating. You're like Judge or Ellie Judge, and after that 3 home run game, it's like, yeah, he had a pretty good game. He's had a pretty good start to the year, I guess.
4 home runs already. Yeah, that is looking like. I mean, I should be surprised. I suck at fantasy baseball, but that is looking like a horrendous decision already. And it's not bad enough that Major League Baseball lets the Yankees play in a little league ballpark, but now they're letting them use little league bats. What's going on here? What's up with these bats?
Yeah,
these bats don't seem like they should be legit.
It doesn't they look a little like wiffle ball bats, don't they? Except much thicker, like the size. Yeah, that's the only thing that's kind of weird this year so far to start the season, and that's the big story. I mean, I don't know all the details behind it. If it's legal, then I guess let's just start picking up all the Yankees. I mean, we got to like the Yankees offense anyways, but there's got to be something going on here. And if they figured out a way to make the barrels like super size, why can't the other teams do this too, right? Like it only seems like that there's got to be a way to replicate that. So I don't know. But look, it's a good offense anyways. You got a lot of players there that I think are worth adding anyways. Austin Wells, I was already super high on, before the season, 2 home runs already. I mean, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But then honestly, I think we need to start looking a little deeper into guys like Ben Rice, who I liked for a bit last year and was good for a little bit. And then he's, kind of slumped and had a really bad end to the season. But Ben Rice can hit, and he's getting regular at bats. So he's somebody I think we have to look hard into as well. So, I mean, it's the Yankees. It was some other team maybe, but they're probably going to be allowed to get away with it, even if it isn't legal.
Yeah, until every other team starts doing it, and then home runs get out of control, and then baseball will be like, oh, okay, hold on. It's no, we can't have this. We can't have this. But if they allow these bats, Aaron Judge might break Barry Bonds' single season home run record.
Yeah,
and he's going to break the soul of everybody like myself and anybody who passed on him in fantasy drafts because. Yeah, true. Looking terrible. But that's not why you're here. You're here for the 2-star streamers. We'll probably here for that and to have some questions answered, which we'll get to. So let's get to the 2-star streamers because that's what we do on Sunday. And I love, if you don't know, if you weren't here last year, we're going to go through some of Pierre's favorite 2-star streamers this week, whether he likes them because they're good pitchers, they have good matchups, or both. And I love the first name you have on the list because I will say this. I suck at fantasy baseball. My lineup is terrible. I somehow, even though all I did was draft hitters, I somehow have a bunch of slappies who can't hit home runs unless they're on my bench. They're on my bench. They can hit a home run every night on my bench. But I do have good pitching somehow. Even though I waited on pitching, I've had good pitching so far. And I have Jackson Jobe, who I decided to bet on this year. And he is your number 1 2-start streamer this week. Obviously, we know the talent is there. But Mariners and White Sox, those are 2 great matchups to start the week. Are any reservations about starting Jackson Jobe in his first 2 starts?
Yeah, so, and again, if anybody doesn't know, obviously we talk about pitchers who are scheduled to make 2 starts. Things always change, right? Things change all the time in baseball, but right now, these are the ones that we're going to talk about, the guys scheduled to make 2 starts that might actually be available in your league. All right, that's why they're called streamers. And also, I have to say this disclaimer, anybody who's new to the channel, we had a lot just in the last couple of weeks, so appreciate everybody checking in who is new this year. your league may be different. Okay. I get it. Talking about, this guy's not on my waivers. I don't know that. Okay. I don't know who's on your league waiver and who isn't. These are players who are mostly available at least in, I guess, half of the leagues. Sometimes if there's like a 2/3, if they're like Jackson Jobe, for example, Yahoo is 64% owned. Okay, there's a good chance he's not available, but in at least a third of leagues, he is available. And ESPN, I'm actually kind of shocked. He's 24% rostered. That means he's out there in 3/4 of leagues. So I don't know why, but I would pick him up. It's always risky, obviously, with a very young pitcher, right? A rookie, a prospect. And it doesn't matter how good the stuff is. The stuff doesn't matter if you can't command it. But Jackson Jobe looked good in spring. Talked about him multiple times this preseason. But again, I'm not sweating the Mariners who just scored, what was it today? 1 run? 2 runs? Okay, 2 runs. That's against the A's, right? The Mariners still don't look like their offense is much better than last year. And then the White Sox, need I say more? So normally I would say, let's wait, let's see, with a prospect. But this is not just any prospect. This is one of the best pitching prospects in the game. And these are 2 of the worst offenses in the game. So yeah, if Jackson Jobe is out there, roll him out.
Yep, I am definitely rolling him out with confidence. Excited there. And now another guy, your number 2-start streamer this week. Again, assuming he's out there. Drew Rasmussen. 56% on Yahoo, only 11% on ESPN. I remember this from last year. Like, do they not use pitchers on ESPN? Do you not need to start a pitcher? Like, why are they all so low on ESPN? But he gets kind of a mixed bag matchups here. He gets Pirates, which is obviously really good. Then the Rangers, which can go either way. But this is a guy, he's been a productive pitcher over his career when he's actually out there and healthy. So is this more about the pitcher or more about the matchups or both?
Again, every time we talk about streamers, it's usually going to be both, depending on who it is. But again, number 2, mostly it's the pitcher. I like Rasmussen as a great value pick. I identified him as well. He's a player that I have in a couple of leagues. I think a very sneaky value, a very effective pitcher when healthy. Really, I think a lot of it's just we haven't seen him lately because of injuries, and he's in that rotation. I like him. And again, I especially like the fact he's playing the Pirates, who somehow managed to lose 3 games to the Marlins. And it's not because of the Marlins are all of a sudden found a way to hit. It's really because of the bullpen. But I'm going to definitely start Rasmussen in his first start. At the Rangers, a little trickier, but I'm still going to take a chance there. It really depends if you need somebody like for 2 starts. If you have a weekly lineup, in other words, you can't set your lineups every day, or you just really need those 2 starts, I'm going to still take a chance there in that game because the Pirates game is so tempting. But I will also say this, if you are looking for 2-start pitchers, if the first start doesn't go as planned, or maybe the second one really scares you too much, it's okay to start them for the first one and then skip the second one if you're in a daily lineup league. But even with the Rangers on tap, the second start, I do still like Rasmussen enough. I don't worry about him getting lit up.
All right, there you go. And now how about a pitcher who last year, it's funny to see a lot of these names on this list because some of these guys were very productive last year. How about Bowden Francis, who was legitimately a league winner down the stretch last year, was putting up monster games after monster games. Only 59% on Yahoo, somehow 66% on ESPN, which, okay, that's weird. Giants and Twins, can he pick up where he left off last year?
Bowden Francis, it might be the pitcher I'm most interested to see how he does this week and just the whole season, because he's a guy, as you know, was really good, like you said, down the stretch. And everyone's scared to draft him. I feel like everyone just assumes that's it. It was just an outlier. He was just a small sample size, and absolutely nobody has any faith in this guy. I don't know. I mean, come on, let's at least give him a shot. And again, going against the Giants, that's definitely a good spot for him. And at the Twins, okay, it's not a great matchup, but this Twins offense is already hurting. Obviously Royce Lewis out, and it's not a lineup that scares me too much. So, I mean, sure, you're taking the same chances if you drafted him. It's like, was it just a couple of months? But this wasn't, again, like I said, it wasn't just a couple of starts. It was a couple of months. He was outstanding. Yep. So I mean, we'll see. Somebody's going to get proven wrong. I'm going to put him not at the very top of the streamer list, obviously, but he might be the top guy that's actually available in most leagues.
All right. And then another guy who kind of like was the opposite of Francis last year, right? It was a great start to the season. Everybody thought they had a league winner, and then he kind of sputtered down the stretch. Ronel Blanco, but man, you got to feel good about his matchups this week. Nationals and the Mets, 64% on Yahoo, 60% on ESPN. I think he only get one outing in spring training. It was against a minor league team, and he looked good. But how are you feeling about him heading into the season here?
Well, very similar though to Francis. Is just like everyone looked at what he did last year and like, yeah, it's not going to happen again. It's just nobody believes in him. He was a late end of draft kind of pick, and it's kind of like a fallback. Like, well, okay, there's no good pitchers left. I guess I'll take Ronel Blanco. I am going to be a little bit of a defender for him, and I've talked about him as well as a good value. I mean, it wasn't, again, just a stretch. For most of the season, he was really solid. He faltered a little bit late, like you said, but what I like is that he bounced back in September. He looked strong again. And look, I was a doubter too, but if you didn't pay attention at the very end of the season, he did bounce back. I mean, I still think he'll be a solid, late end of rotation kind of arm for you. He can get strikeouts. So still getting slept on. And again, versus the Nats, that's a great first matchup at the Mets. We'll see. But again, I would definitely take a chance on him. I'm kind of conflicted about whether I trust him more than Bowden Francis this week. I did put him just a little bit below Francis, but that's mainly just due to the matchups.
All right, there you go. I actually picked him up to stream twice this week. And I also picked up my boy, Mr. Solid, if not exciting, David Peterson, just sitting out there in 80% of Yahoo leagues, almost every ESPN league. Marlins, Blue Jays. Now, Blue Jays, again, I feel like the Blue Jays is another one of those lineups. Marlins, we know. Okay, Marlins, fine, great matchup. Blue Jays, another one of those teams. Sometimes they, can be an offensive juggernaut. Sometimes they can kind of disappear. But David Peterson, I just feel like most of the time last year was just solid. Like, yeah, he's not going to put up huge, like crazy numbers, but he won't kill your ratios. He's got a chance for quality starts. He strikes out enough hitters. So you're obviously taking a chance on him. Not one of your favorite streamers, but you're still taking a chance on him.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Like you said, when you're looking for a 2-start streamer, I mean, sometimes you're looking for floor. Sometimes you, I guess, are looking a little bit more for ceiling. You should typically want guys that you feel pretty good will not get blown up. And that's like a David Peterson, right? Very rarely does he just get absolutely rocked. And so that's the good thing with him. He's not necessarily going to get you the highest strikeout totals out of any of these pitchers. He'll get you some, like he'll be fine, but he's not going to probably have a dominant start. Like, that's just not how he is, right? But he will not get lit up. So he's a good floor play here. And of course, the Marlins. I mean, look, don't look at the records. Forget the records. Toss it out. That was about the Pirates, more so the Marlins. You want to stream every chance you can get against the Marlins and against the White Sox. Every chance. That will not change throughout this year. It's sad to say. Not different from last year. It's not going to change. You want to stream against them. David Peterson will be great against the Marlins, and I think he'll be fine against the Blue Jays, who also aren't a super scary lineup.
All right, yep, I'm streaming him this week. I picked him up to roll him out there twice. Now, kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum here, a little more risky. We're talking about another prospect. Kumar Rocker did make, I think 3 appearances? Yeah, 3 appearances last year. 3.86 ERA. Didn't win any games because, whatever, young pitcher. But did strike out 14 batters in 11 innings. And this week, it's the Reds and the Rays. The Rays lineup is, I'm going to love streaming against the Rays, it looks like. The Reds, again, another one of those teams that can go, either way. So is this like the opposite of David Peterson? This is a go ahead and take the risk kind of stream?
You got it. That's exactly right. And then we go from floor to ceiling. Kumar Rocker could be the best of all these pitchers. Could lead the way in terms of strikeouts, but he's still kind of an unknown. I mean, we know what he's got to offer. We just don't know how he's going to respond to being in the rotation very beginning of the year. Remember, this is going to be an interesting week because we're getting all these pitchers making their first start of the season. Like these guys are all now, they're number 4, number 5 starters. That's why they're on here first week, making their first start of the season, possibly second. So I love Rocker. I always have. And again, if it was a tougher slate for him, maybe I would bump him down or even take him off this list. But the Reds and the Rays, I think he can do it. If nothing else, even if he does give up some runs, I do feel good enough about the strikeout. So a little risk here, obviously, but I mean, the ceiling is super high.
Definitely. And another guy, probably more of a ceiling than a floor play here, although the matchups might make him a floor play. Ben Brown, 8% on Yahoo, 2% on ESPN, gets the A's and the Padres. Last year was not bad, right? Had a 3.58 ERA, 64 strikeouts in only 55 innings. Now, he has made one start this year. Remember the Tokyo games. It did not go well. Only 2 2/3 innings. Gave up 2 earned runs. Walked 3 batters. 4 hits. Did strike out 5, though, so he's got that strikeout upside. How you feeling about him this week?
Yeah, so again, the ceiling is high. This is a young pitcher I like a lot, and I even advocated taking him late in your draft. The strikeout numbers will be there. I'm not taking, the Tokyo series into account too much. I mean, that was obviously against the Dodgers. That was a weird, kind of timing thing. So let's just, wipe the slate fresh. I do love these matchups. The A's obviously can be a great team to stream against as well. And the Padres, the Padres have a pretty good offense, but looking also at the matchups in terms of chances to get a win or go deep in games, he's facing, for the A's, Joey Estes, and then the Padres are going to roll out Kyle Hart, who, again, we'll see how he responds to his first start back in the majors after how many years. So good chance to notch a win or two as well. And you got to kind of take that into account as well if you're in a league that counts wins. So the risk is a little bit higher with Rocket here, but I do like Ben Brown a lot.
All right. And now I guess we're going to go back to maybe boring and solid here. Going to go with Angels pitcher for your last 2-start streamer of the week. That's Tyler Anderson. Faces the Cardinals and the Guardians. That's definitely good matchups. Only 3% rostered on Yahoo, 2% on ESPN. Did have 12 quality starts last year, a 3.81 ERA, 1.29 whip. Now, the downside here, only 142 strikeouts in 179 innings. And if you play in a wins league, he's on the Angels, who are worse at scoring runs than my fantasy baseball team right now. So is this quality start only league? Is this like there's nothing else out there? What are you feeling about Anderson?
Yeah, I mean, look, again, if you're in quality starts league, obviously more appeal, like you said, the wins you'll almost rarely encounter. So if you don't care about wins, or if it's not factored in your league and you don't care too much about strikeouts, here's your guy. But sometimes it's okay to have kind of a ratio stabilizer. So this is, first of all, a deep league pick. Obviously, none of the other options there, or almost none of them are available. Okay, you can roll out Tyler Anderson, but also, this might be a nice way to kind of pair some of the risk with a guy like Rocker, right? Like, you don't exactly know how he's going to do. He'll get you some Ks, could get you a win, but you're just not sure how many runs he might give up. Anderson won't get lit up because he almost never does. But he's also pretty boring. But that's a nice kind of compliment there, right? You know what I mean? So between the two of them, it's, I guess, like having 1.5 good pitchers. So anyways, but you can get these guys on the waiver wire. And here's the great thing about Tyler Anderson. He's just out there everywhere. He's available in pretty much every league everywhere. So this way, nobody can come at me and say, look, none of these guys are available. I almost guarantee Tyler Anderson is available in your league. And you know what? He's probably going to be the very end of this list every other week, because that's just how he is.
Yeah, I want to know who's got Tyler Anderson in 3%. It's got to be people that are like, in deep leagues looking for a 2-star streamer this week. That's got to be it. Playing the game. All right, so there you go. There are Pierre's top 2-start streamer recommendations for the week. Of course, you have questions about other 2-star streamers, other pitchers, other hitters, anything related to fantasy baseball. Drop a comment down there. We'll get to as many as we can. And of course, need to remind you, if you're on here last year, if you remember, if you don't want to wait for your question to get answered, you want to jump to the front of the line, You can drop that super chat and we will answer your question right away. Not a necessity, but again, if you're impatient, you just want your question answered now, you don't want to wait, that's a good way to do it. Or if you're just feeling generous and you want to say thanks for all the hard work Pierre puts into this, drop that super chat. And also, this is a good time to remind you, there are still pick'ems on Underdog. In fact, there are pick'ems on Underdog every single day of the Major League Baseball season. So if you want your fantasy baseball fix outside of just your fantasy leagues, go on to UnderdogFantasy.com. Join using promo code ENDGAME. You can see it right there because you'll get a free pick. It's a win right off the bat for you, plus up to $1,000 bonus cash. So check it out if you haven't already. That's Underdog Fantasy. Join using promo code ENDGAME. All right, Pierre, you ready to get into these questions?
Let's do it.
All right, let's start with Harry Grossman, who asked about the torpedo bats, but he wants to know, buy low. Are you buying low on Devers now, or are you waiting? Has Devers been terrible?
Beyond terrible. Well, you know what, Harry? I know you're a loyal viewer. Gonna say you're gonna have to wait till tomorrow because just like last year, the panic video is coming out on Monday. It's no surprise. He's going to be the headliner. So I really want to dive into it a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to look into the numbers. I mean, we all know he's been terrible, right? Can't buy a hit. But, I mean, that's the question. Is this just an obvious buy low on a superstar who is struggling, over a weekend? Or is there something going on? So, sorry to do it to you. I'm going to say, check out the video tomorrow.
All right. Shameless plug. All right. F. What's up, F? Passed on Soderstrom in a points league due to K concern. Whoops. Not feeling good about that. All right. So are there any guys who you think are one step away from a success, such as Maikel Garcia, if you could elevate the ball? Anybody out there that you feel like is on the cusp?
Yeah, well, Garcia definitely elevated the ball yesterday. I was watching, so I was flipping back and forth watching the games. I saw him launch that home run. Honestly, at first, because I was looking at 3 other games too, I thought it was Sal Perez at the plate, and then I saw him go deep, and I was like, oh, wow, that's Garcia. I wouldn't expect too many home runs from Garcia. That's not necessarily his game, but you're talking about the process. So with that, I mean, you dig into the StatCast. This is why I do all the offseason, look at players who maybe their metrics and some of their underlying stats are better than their actual stats. Guys who maybe just need to fix the launch angle, maybe just need a different situation. And so that's how I get into, the players that I think are breakouts or values and things like that. So that's why I identify those players. So, the easiest thing is you can do is go to Baseball Savant, look at the StatCast numbers and look at guys who are maybe underachieving, right? Maybe their expected numbers are much better than their actual numbers. But think about the player themselves, players who have the talent, just need something to click. So it's easier said than done. And, a lot of players aren't just one step away. There isn't just one thing. So it sounds easy to find, right? Oh, just look for this guy who just needs to, but sometimes it's just simple as playing time. Does it just needs a regular spot in the lineup and, he can thrive. So look for guys who the team has now said, we feel like you should be a starting player, an everyday or mostly everyday player. There's got to be a reason for that, right? So take a harder look at those guys.
All right. Thank you, F, as always. And now Frank's here. Remember, Frank was doing that auction draft during our stream, I think, or maybe it was during our Q&A. I can't remember. Probably our Q&A, not during our draft. He's got a few questions. First question, any thoughts on the White Sox closer? I mean, I already know how I feel about the White Sox closer, but any thoughts on the White Sox closer?
If he is, yeah, actually, Leisure was somebody that I mentioned in talk about closers who or guys who could be closers that they're not now, potential closers. I can't remember what I called it, but guys who weren't being drafted because we weren't sure. And he's one. He's more of a deep sleeper, and of course, any White Sox pitcher is risky, but his path got a lot easier when Prelander Baroa got hurt. I think he's out for the season, if I remember. and whoever else they had is absolutely no significance to me. So there won't be a lot of save opportunities, but still, I think Leisure could be the guy. And he is talented. He is talented. Of course, there's risk here, but I think he's still, if again you are interested in the White Sox potential closer, I think he's going to be the one who would be my favorite.
All right. Then he wants to know better fab bid option: Richard Fitts or Sean Burke?
Burke. I mean, obviously Burke looked good, but again, we have to look at the other side of the coin. It's like it was against the Angels, right? Okay, but Burke was good last year a little bit. So I think Burke, if again you don't care about wins, then you can go with Burke. Fitz is somebody I also like a lot, and he looked pretty good in his debut. So I think Fitz is a little bit more talented and a little bit better situation. Right now, I'm going to say Fitz is going to be my choice, but they're both decent options. I mean, Burke is not a bad fallback, in other words.
All right, and then last question: Slim pickings, gun to the head. Which middle infielder do you try to get? Ryan Bliss, Brain Rocchio, Brendan Rodgers, Will Wagner, or Edmundo Sosa? Is he the backup for Trey Turner?
Yeah, he's like a utility player, like more of a Sosa's probably not going to get enough at bats.
Trey Turner already hurt. Elly De La Cruz looks like a bust. Can't steal a base anymore. Trey Turner. You know how you're bad at fantasy baseball? If you drafted Elly De La Cruz and Trey Turner with your first 2 picks, you're bad at fantasy baseball. I'm just telling you right now. If that's you, I'm sorry, you're bad at fantasy baseball.
It's way too early. Way too early.
How does Elly De La Cruz not have a stolen base? Aaron Judge has 4 home runs. What have I done?
It's way too early. You're good. Sosa, I don't. He doesn't give you enough for fantasy. Rodgers, he's fine. We'll see. Rocchio again, I feel like doesn't give you enough necessarily. I like Wagner. He has some power. I think I like him overall offensively. I think I would go with Wagner. Bliss would probably be second because Bliss can get you some steals. He's got a little bit of pop. I'll go Wagner, and then Bliss would be the backup.
All right, there you go. Thank you, Frank. Good luck. Right now we got Roxana. What's up? Her pitchers right now are Bassett, Castillo, Meyer, Ober, Wheeler, Arrighetti, Gausman. Ooh. Has Gausman pitched yet this year? Was he any good?
He was. He was pretty good in his first start.
All right, Singer. And then relief pitchers are Edwin Diaz and Chapman. I guess one of these guys has to go. It's a points league.
Oh. Well, Meyer actually was pretty good too. Now, again, it was the Pirates, but I do like Meyer and his upside. If somebody has to go, it'd be Singer. He can eat up some innings, but doesn't have a lot of strikeout upside. He's really in a worse situation this year, being in Cincinnati as opposed to KC. So yeah, in a points league. Although, actually, I think about Chapman. I mean, do you have to keep Chapman? We're not completely sure he's going to be getting saves. This could be Slayton. I'll hold on to him for now. I'll say Singer can go. I don't feel like he's somebody you have to hold on to. And then you can probably cut bait with Chapman if you find somebody else worth picking up.
All right. And then she also says, Rushman, Naylor, Cronenworth, Shaw, Paradas, O'Neill, Cruz, Rosarena, Cruz, Santander, Jordan Alvarez, Tommy Evans, Schwarber. Wants to get rid of one of these for a pitcher and a second catcher. Who goes? So two have to go.
Well, I'll say this. If you have Adley Rutschman, you don't need a second catcher if you're in a one-catcher league, because he's one of those catchers who will play almost every day. So I don't think you need a second catcher just for the sake of having a second catcher, because honestly, catcher number 2 is just going to sit on your bench and do nothing for you. If you really, really need a catcher because Rutschman gets hurt or something, then you go out and get one. So catcher is not a position I feel like I need to have a backup just to have one. As far as getting rid of one of those guys, you know what? If you're going to add another pitcher anyways, in this case, you know what? Just get rid of Chapman. Get rid of Singer and Chapman and replace them with another pitcher. I'd rather do that than to get rid of one of these players, because I don't even know who I would get rid of here. I mean, if I had to, I guess it would be Tommy Edman, but I'd rather get rid of Singer and Chapman.
All right, there you go. Good luck. And then Andreas saying hi, Jay Grizz saying hi, what's up? And then back to back, dropping the saying, don't worry, Chris. Guy in my league took Ellie ahead of me, leaving him Aaron Judge. Yes, I know.
There. See, you're not the only
You're
one.
welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome back. When you win the championship this year, you can thank me. You can thank me. All right, Uwe2K. What's up, Uwe2K? Who are you adding here for starting pitcher, relief pitcher? Bubic? How do you pronounce it? Ortiz or Leiter?
It's definitely going to be Leiter. Again, you don't know how a guy like that's going to respond his first start. It was good. I mean, I've definitely been a huge fan of Leiter, probably too much so last year. But yeah, those other guys don't give you enough upside. Ortiz and Bubic. I'm going Leiter all the way.
All right, there you go. Go Leiter. It's good to see you. All right, Dario, what's up? Thoughts on Wood and Cruz? Is it worth waiting to see how they do, or are you willing to trade them up for a bigger name outfielder?
Yeah, we're going to have to be patient here. Dylan Cruz did not have a good weekend, but we're going to have to wait here. We're going to have to wait. Still got upside. I think he'll come through. I still like Dylan Cruz long term. Wood actually did something. In fact, I saw him almost hit a home run yesterday. He's got the speed. He's got the power. You got to hold on here because I don't know who you could trade up for to get for them. I mean, obviously, if you get you like a Jackson Churio, Julio Rodriguez, or something like that, I mean, go for it. But yeah, we're going to have to be patient again. It's been one weekend.
Yeah, it's hard to tell yourself that. All right, Roxana again wants to know Luis Castillo, Wheeler, Ober, Arrighetti, Bassett, Meyer, Gausman, Singer. Who should I consider a streamer? These got to be our pitchers, right? These aren't streamers.
Well, I guess if you're asking which one, like, do you have to start them all each time out? I mean, Meyer, if it's a bad matchup, you don't have to. Singer, I already told you can cut. But everybody else, I feel like you just start them and don't worry. I love Arrighetti. Wheeler, of course, you never take out of your lineup. Like Castillo and Gausman, I think. You don't have to worry too much. He looked solid in his first start. Bassett's fine. Bassett sometimes will have bad starts, but he's a decent floor play. So I think Meyer's the only one, I guess you could say, is more like a streamer out of this group.
All right. And then Jay Grizz wants to know Luzardo or Clay Holmes rest of the season in a head-to-head league.
Whoa. I mean, I like Clay Holmes a lot. I talked about him I did a whole video talking about biggest steal in fantasy drafts. Didn't look like a steal in his first start. Didn't look very good. Luzardo looked amazing. Luzardo struck out 11 nats. I like Luzardo a lot, but I'm still in on Clay Holmes, right? It's one start. I'm not giving up. So I'm still going to give this slight edge to Clay Holmes, but I'm leaving wiggle room to change my mind if Luzardo keeps it up and Clay Holmes doesn't.
All right. So Clay Holmes for now, it sounds like.
Barely.
Then Andrea wants to know, she picked up Chris Paddack for 2 starts this week. How do you feel about him?
Paddock's all right. Yeah, Paddack is, a guy who's still in the rotation for Minnesota. He's got decent stuff. He's also had a hard time staying healthy. So I feel like Paddack should be fine. He's more of a deeper streamer. I kind of just want to see how he looks first, honestly, before rolling him out for 2 starts. But he's an option. I mean, I can't say he's significantly worse than, some of those players we talked about, like the David Peterson, the Ben Browns. Not quite as much upside, but he could be a decent option.
All right, well, that's a perfect segue to Ilrus123. Ben Brown, David Peterson, or Chris Paddack tomorrow. You got to pick one. Who are you picking?
I'm going to go by the order I had them. And obviously with the Marlins, on top, I've got to go David Peterson.
All right, David Peterson it is. All right, James Coffey, what's up? Good to see you again. Thoughts on Cardinals catcher Ivan Herrera for batting average in a week-to-week categories league?
Yeah, Herrera is a nice option there. He's the main catcher now. For batting average, exactly right. That's what'll get you. Not a ton of power, but the Cardinals offense kind of been a pleasant surprise so far. Not that they're lighting it up, but still they're looking decent. I'm gonna have to walk back some of my Lars Nootbaar hate. So, he went over 3 today, but still. Herrera is a good option there. Now, again, my one thing I did say about Herrera is people just assume, well, he's going to be in there every day now with Contreras at first. Well, look what happened today. And I even mentioned this. He's going to give way to Pedro Pages some days. And today, Pages started, and Pages looked pretty good offensively. He had a big game. So Herrera will still get 4 to 5 starts a week, and he's still a pretty good option, though.
All right, there you go. Thank you, James. Good to see you as always. All right, Casey Phillips wants to know Dynasty League. We're talking Dynasty. Ooh. Justin Martinez or Durant or Durant. What's his name?
Juan. I don't know how you say Juan Duran.
All right.
I'm gonna give the edge to Duran still. Look, I know everyone loves Justin Martinez. He's got filthy stuff, but we need to see the command, right? We need to see that he can rein in that walk rate, which was super high, last year. We also aren't sure yet that he is the guy. We want him to be the guy. At least a lot of people just assume like he's the future closer. He's got the stuff, and sure, he definitely could be. But they got AJ Puck, who's pretty good, also, and they got Kevin Ginkel, who's boring, but also has done that job before. So my money is still on Puck. Now I know it's Dynasty, but I'm still going to take Duran because I like Duran too. I mean, these are very similar types of pitchers.
All right, there you go, Casey. Thank you and good luck. All right, Jay Grizz has another one. If we have room on our roster to stash a pitcher, should Brian Bello be rostered in any and every format? And if so, Bello, Kershaw, or Jared Jones. Now, Bello, I had Bello last year, man. He was so volatile. He'd either give you like a great outing or he would just get destroyed.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking for an injured pitcher here. I think you can do better. Yeah, Bello, and I used to like Bello a bit, but I just don't feel like he's got enough to offer. I don't think he's stash worthy, in other words. Kershaw, I forgot, has existed, for the past 3 years. I don't know. Like, great pitcher in the 2010s decade, but just no. We got to move on. Jared Jones, I'm just going to say I feel like we're just playing the waiting game. We're just waiting, right, for the other shoe to drop and then just rule him out. It's one of those things where, like, they're pretending like he's going to be fine, and I don't know. He's the one, if I had to stash one of those, that I would stash, I guess. But I think there's probably somebody else that you could stash instead.
All right. Good luck. See if you can find somebody else. All right, Jahoni. What's up, Jahoni? All right. Should he waste a waiver wire pickup for Altuve? He was dropped already. Wow, somebody has a shorter leash than I do.
What?
But he'd have to drop Jordan Westburg, apparently.
Did Altuve like break his leg today and I don't know about it, or what?
This must be a very shallow league, I'm guessing. He's going to have to drop Westburg.
You don't want to drop Westburg, but surely you could drop somebody to get Altuve. It's not a waste of a pick. Honestly, did something happen with Altuve? Because I haven't watched all the games today, but I find it hard to believe that somebody would just drop him.
It says, I mean, I don't know unless something happened to him today.
I don't think they even played today.
Yeah, I don't think they did.
Yes, pick up Altuve. No, don't drop Westburg. There's got to be somebody else that you can drop.
Yeah, they did not play today, and he's been fine. I mean, it's not giving you a lot of counting stats, but he's hitting for average.
Yeah, I would pick him up, but again, I don't know who else you have to drop. There's got to be somebody. Not Westbrook.
Drop like your last pitcher or something.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon Norris wants to know: Are relief relief pitchers not as important as starting pitchers in points leagues as compared to categories. This is his first year doing points, and he wants to drop most of his relievers for starting pitchers.
Well, it depends. It depends on the point system. There is no universal, system for points. It depends how much do saves count for, how much do wins count for, how much do innings count for. So without knowing that, I can't just kind of blindly say they're more important or not important at all. It really depends. So for example, if you do like an underdog, some of the best ball drafts that we were doing, like the Dinger, in those formats, yeah, relievers are worthless because first of all, you don't get anything for a save. Like it's nothing. So there's no point getting a reliever, and you get points for wins and quality starts. So in a format like that, there's really no excuse to even take a reliever. Now, usually in points leagues, you get something for saves. I doubt you'll get something for holds, but there are points leagues where they count holds too. If that is the case, well, then you have to look at relievers differently. You don't just need guys who are, closers. You can look for a guy who is like a mid-inning setup guy who might be super valuable, like a Cade Smith or something. So I would say go back and look at your league's rules and settings and tell me how many points do pitchers get for what. And then that would help, to tell you that. Generally speaking, yes, starting pitchers are more important, but again, every league's different.
All right, there you go. Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it. Good question. All right, Carl Williams, what's up? What's your thoughts on Jonah Heim this year? He's got Sal Perez already, though. You prefer Heim to Perez?
Yeah, well, I mean, you got Perez, you're good. You don't need to worry about catcher. But Heim had a 2-home run game the other day. So he could be a nice bounce back. I don't think he's got the highest ceiling. I don't know that he's necessarily going to be, starting in all one catcher leagues by midseason, but he's kind of a nice backup option, a nice second catcher to have. In 2 catcher leagues, yeah, he's start worthy. In 1 catcher league, if you have the room, I know I told earlier, someone was asking, I think it was Roxana, was asking about, having a backup catcher. You don't need to have a backup catcher if you have a stud catcher. And again, you have Perez, you don't really need to worry about a backup catcher. But if you're not sure about your catcher, then Heim could be a good streaming option, might be a good backup.
All right, there you go. Thank you. And then Ilras again here with the cool Jordan logo, by the way. Just wanted to say Jose Soriano is a stud. Thanks for the advice. Yeah, I think you picked him with one of your last picks. 7 innings pitched, no earned runs. That's pretty nice. 0.5 whip. I'd like to see the strikeouts a little higher, but still, for a guy like that, you will take that start every single time. So well done there.
I love it. Now, again, it was against the White Sox. So, okay, fine. I get that. I won't start him every single week because I know there are some times, but still, I love Soriano. He induces ground balls. He's got the velocity. The strikeouts will be fine. I comped him too. He's kind of like possibly like a up-and-coming Sandy Alcantara, very similar. So we'll see. I just wish he wasn't on the Angels. But then again, Sandy was on the Marlins. He won the Cy Young, so who knows?
There you go. You never know. Although I doubt an Angel pitcher is winning the Cy Young anytime soon. All right, Loganamar. We'll just call you Logan. Are you down on Lane Thomas this year? He hasn't been impressed since the move to Cleveland.
Down indeed. Didn't draft him anywhere. Didn't rank him too highly. I think that 1 year in Washington a couple years ago was the peak. I'm not a believer in Lane Thomas. He'll still probably keep his job most of the year, but he's not someone I'm too interested in.
All right. Yep. You can move on from him. And Carl with another one wants to know thoughts on some Dodgers relief pitchers, Anthony Banda and Blake Treinen.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Hader and Bautista. And all his lower drafted pitchers, Springs, Gore, and Keller all did good. But maybe you could drop Buxton or you could drop Heim to pick up those guys. I mean, you can't drop Gore after what he just did.
No. Well, I mean, the only reason to get a reliever like that, like Banda or Treinen or any of the guys in the bullpen that aren't closers for any team, is if you're in a league with holds. right? And if you are in a league with holds, those guys are kind of interchangeable. Nobody's picking up Banda. I'll tell you the one league where I am trying to pick up Banda is my relief pitcher only league. That's what? Right. Yes.
You just made that up.
I did not make that up. I have proof. This is a league that's been going on for a couple of years. It's kind of the equivalent, like if you were doing fantasy football and it was like a tight end only league, it's kind of like that.
Doesn't exist. See, it doesn't exist. You made it up, obviously.
I swear it's true. But anyways, I mean, they're good, but there's no need to drop somebody good for them. Buxton, just wait for him to get hurt and you put him on the IL. So, I mean, they're good relievers, but you're not going to get a lot of fantasy value out of them. Oh, you do score holds. Okay, I'm looking at his. I was like, there's got to be something else to them.
Yeah, they do score holds.
Okay, so yeah, there's a place for him. Time is not necessary.
All right, there you go. All right, we got the return of Cerulean Dog. What is up? All right, he's got Luis Gil and pitcher Ohtani. Are we gonna see pitcher Ohtani this year? But he's got room. He's got him on IL and he's got room to keep him there. So I guess no reason to drop him if you got him on IL. So yeah, it's a question here. So first of all, are we even ever gonna see pitcher Ohtani this year? What about Luis Gil? Are we gonna see these guys this year?
I'm not counting on it. I mean, I don't think there's any need to stash Luis Gil. He's also one that, despite how good he was last year for most of the year, a lot of people are just like, yeah, that's not going to happen again. He wasn't even drafted in some leagues until, of course, then he got hurt. But there's just no need because he's going to be out a while. At least I think this is like 3 months. I mean, look, you don't need to clog up your IL spot with a guy who you know is for sure not pitching in the first half. You know what I mean? And we're not talking about a superstar, right? We're not talking about like Jacob deGrom. We're talking about Luis Gil. So no need to stash Gil. Ohtani, I don't see it. I don't think it's worth it.
All right, there you go. So not feeling good about their returns. All right, Uwe 2K. Who's the better second baseman or bench player in a points league? Arias, Campbell, Lux, or Lopez?
Well, if it's a points league, we got to go Arias. I mean, you got to. I mean, guy who leads the league in batting average, always gets on base. You've got to go Arias. Campbell, of course, more exciting, more interesting for Roto, but in a points league, it's still Arias. And he's hitting near the top of that lineup. It's going to be him.
All right, thanks for that question. All right, Milot, in a 12-team points league, who do you drop to pick up Soderstrom? Jackson Holiday, Brandon Lowe. I feel like Brandon Lowe is terrible for a points league, isn't he? Or Manzardo?
Ooh, now here's a good one. This is a good question. Jackson Holiday did, if I remember, hit a home run. Was it yesterday? Jackson Holiday, I'm a believer. I mean, was the top prospect in all of baseball for a reason. So I do like Holiday. I know somebody in our last stream pointed out the strikeouts, right? Strikeouts were still there, and obviously that hurts you in a points league, but I think it's manageable. I think he's going to do more good than bad, right? In terms of play discipline, I'm not too concerned. Brandon Lowe, yeah, you're right. A little bit more of a liability because he will strike out too. He's a slugger. He's kind of, well, you know what? He's kind of similar to Tyler Soderstrom. That's kind of how he is. Very similar profile offensively. And Manzardo, I'm big on Manzardo. So if you're going to drop one of these guys, it's Lowe.
All right. There you go. Thank you, Milot. All right. And then I don't know if this matters. Brandon again saying the settings are 5 for a save and 2 for a hold, but 3 for innings pitched and 2 for wins. His question, if we go back here, was about relief pitchers not as important as starting pitchers.
Well, that's interesting. 2 for a win, but 2 for a hold. I mean, you're going to get pitchers who can give you a lot more holds than wins. 5 for a save. Okay, so in this format, and thank you, by the way, I'm glad you put that out there so I know. So in this format, yeah, closers or relievers, I should say, are valuable. I'm not going to say they're more valuable than starters because 3 innings, 3 points for an innings pitched. If you can get guys who rack up innings, that gets you some points. And I like that the wins aren't worth very much. So in this case, you do want to go for probably some high leverage relievers who can get you holds and or saves. So you probably want at least a couple of guys, like a Brian Abreu might be super valuable, a Matt Strahm, obviously your elite closers, right? Those guys who will get you saves. So in this case, you do want some relievers. Let me see. I don't know if you have any specific names. But this helps me understand your league. So if you ask this guy or that guy who's more important, I wouldn't drop most of your relievers. But again, it depends on who.
All right. There you go. Thank you. So thanks for putting that in a little bit of perspective there for us. And then Uwe2K again. He's got Contreras at catcher, but he also has Sal Perez because he does, I guess, catchers get rested a lot on Sundays. You like this idea, or would you rather free up that roster spot?
Well, it's interesting. You have 2 guys who are both catcher / first base, so you can put them at both positions. Those are both 2 of the better options at catcher, so I'm keeping them both. Do you need another guy just for Sunday? No, you don't need a catcher just for that, so I wouldn't worry about it. But Contreras and Perez, having them both, that's pretty nice.
All right. Thank you. And then Ilros 123 saying, last question of the night, what are your thoughts on Otto Lopez?
Well, I know Otto Lopez pretty well, obviously being a Marlins fan. Had a nice game yesterday, nothing today. All right, so the good news with Otto Lopez, he can hit for average, a decent average. I don't think he's not like a Xavier Edwards, not going to hit for 300 plus average, but he can get you probably 270, maybe 280. He hits near the top of the order because he's on the Marlins. And he can get you a little bit of speed, a little bit of power. So he's kind of a nice middle infield type of player, if you don't have a high-end option there. He's rosterable, but not a must. Like the ceiling is not super high, in other words. I guess what I'm trying to say, he's a decent floor play in roto leagues.
All right, there you go. Thank you as always. Appreciate the questions. Uncle Ted dropping in just to say,
what's up,
not
Uncle
a fan
Ted?
of Jackson Holliday's swing.
Well, I think he'll be all right.
All right, we've got a trade question already. You ready? You ready for trades already? Chandler traded Corey Seager and Mike Trout for Mookie Betts. What are your thoughts? So much for worried about Mookie Betts and the weight loss.
Yeah, I like it. Give me Mookie. Mookie, first rounder. Mookie, yeah, everyone's, his strength is bad. I was watching that game, the extra innings game, a couple days ago and saw him go deep, for the walk-off home run. I think he's fine. I think Mookie will be fine. Yeah. Give me the first round fantasy stud in exchange for Seager, who's always hurt, and Trout, who is just a matter of time. Let me see how many days he got left before he hits IL.
I can't believe that pitch that hit him on the hand didn't end his season. I'm actually shocked.
If it's not that, it's something though. It's going to be something. Look, we just know. And Seager already hurt right before the season even started. It's like,
no, he's been fine because I do have Seager. He's been fine. They didn't play him today, but he hasn't been hurt. He sucked. He sucked, but he hasn't been hurt. He sucked like all my picks except for my bench. Like it's like funny. All the guys I drafted, like Heliot Ramos has been. He was like the last hitter I drafted. He's on my bench just tearing it up every day. Like, oh my gosh, all the guys like on my bench tearing it up. Anyways,
he's been good.
I know. Now I don't know what to do. Now I'm like, do I start this guy instead of these guys? But you know what's going to happen? I'm going to put Heliot Ramos in tomorrow, and Corey Seager is going to hit 2 home runs or something, and Heliot Ramos is going to go 0 for 4.
Yeah, you can't really bench Corey Seager if he's in the lineup. Seager will be fine. But look, between those 2 guys, give me Mookie every day. That's a great trade for you, assuming you got Mookie.
All right, Logan again here saying his team is a little rookie since he has Royce Lewis. I don't know what he means by rookie, but it's hurt. Acuna and Henderson on the IL. I guess what he meant to say is a little injured. Would you drop Stott, Shaw, Cam Smith, Victor Scott, any of those guys for Holiday? Someone dropped him already. Uncle Ted must be in the league.
Uncle Ted,
are you in Logan's league? Did you drop Holiday already?
He saw one at bat, saw him strike out. He's like, "That's it, I'm done." I guess I think he was saying he's got so many injuries. He like his whole team is rookies basically, or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up Holiday now. Who to drop? That's the tough question. Victor Scott getting everyday playing time. He's got that crazy speed upside. Cam Smith. I mean, everybody's all crazy about Cam Smith. I like Shaw a lot. Man, that's the tough thing is who to drop. Honestly, it might be Stott that I drop. I mean, keep those rookies. Keep that upside. Stott is fine, but, they bumped him down to the bottom of the order. Give me the upside. And if one of these guys struggles, gets sent down, whatever, then you drop them. But go for that upside. You won't need them forever. Gunnar Henderson is coming back soon. I mean, he's not going to be out very long. So you're going to wind up dropping someone else anyways. So, yeah, give me Holiday. I'm dropping Stott.
And I think that was Uncle Ted. Uncle Ted, not a fan, not a fan of Holiday swing. All good though. All right, back to Brandon. So remember his thing about how they score the points there. So would you rather have Kirby Yates this week or David Peterson's 2 starts?
Yeah, Kirby Yates is a great option. I mean, those other Dodgers relievers too. That's what we talked about. But yeah, Kirby Yates, definitely a good option. Peterson is solid this week since he's got 2 starts. Might get you more points. I mean, I would say if Yates is just kind of out there, right, floating out there. I don't know if you're asking if you should drop Yates or what, but I would do this for this week. Go Peterson, and then afterwards drop Peterson and pick Yates back up.
All right, there you go. Thank you as always. And now Chandler, you did talk about this a little bit earlier. Somebody asked about buying low on Devers. I think it was Harry. Was it Harry Grossman or maybe it was F? I forget. But are we panicking on Devers? Are we panicking? I know you got the panic video. I guess we should just say check out the panic video tomorrow morning.
This is a perfect outro segue. Tomorrow, the panic videos are back. Who are you worried about? There's not a lot of players you should really worry or panic about after 3 games, but I mean, he's one of them. So yeah, you should be a little worried, but I'm going to break it all down in the video. So look for that tomorrow.
All right, and then real quick, S-Man, Ben Brown this week. We talked about the 2-star streamers, talked about Ben Brown, not favorite 2-starter, but if you're in a deep league, you can go with him. If you want to, S-Man, if you want to go back and watch the beginning after we're done streaming, you can hear Pierre's thoughts on a bunch of different 2-start streamers. And then now kind of the opposite of Devers, definitely not a guy we're panicking about. What are your thoughts about, I assume, Eugenio Suarez? 4 home runs already, although he did go 0 for 4 today. But, I mean, still, come on. 4 home runs already? Is this for real? I
mean, that power is for real. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but, I was watching that Arizona game. He almost had another one. He already had a couple in the game, and then he hit one to the track. It was caught. It was that close to being another home run. I mean, we know his power is legit. That's never been an issue. It's just last year, his average, was tanking teams. But this is a carryover from the second half. I mean, he was horrendous the whole first half. And then the second half, he was on fire. He's carrying over. So he's comfortable in Arizona, clearly. Now, it's not the best ballpark for a power hitter. And also, as Uncle Ted just pointed out, the matchups matter, right? He's facing some lefties, maybe some favorable matchups. And so that always has to be taken into account. Remember, all these teams have only faced exactly one other team. So that has to do with it. The Cubs are a good team, but again, I saw some of those home runs. He was getting balls right down the pipe. Like Justin Steele served it right over the middle. I think it was Tyone the first game. I mean, it was I could have hit that pitch, probably not too far, but I could have hit it. I mean, he was getting some softballs there. So we don't want to go overboard, but Suarez always has had massive power. So I think he's still a legit corner infield option for most of the season.
All right, and then Chandler with another one. Wilyer Abreu, obviously red hot right now. Obviously, he's not going to keep this up. He's batting 700, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 5 runs. But do you feel like this is a sign of things, or is he just on a heater right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's on a heater. He'll be fine. I think he'll definitely have fantasy value this season, right? He's not a pure power hitter, but again, keep in mind he'll probably sit sometimes against lefties, and I mean, I could see a 20 homer season for him. I think that's reasonable, and I think he's got definitely great plate discipline. I will say this: a lot of you mentioned that you're in points leagues. I like him better in a points league because he will take walks, and he's a little bit more of, I guess, of a floor play than a ceiling play. Like, I don't think there's a crazy breakout season going on here, but he's going to have some fancy value in deep enough leagues. But I do like him better in points leagues.
All right, there you go. Looks like we're all caught up on the questions. We're right at that hour mark. Perfect timing. Appreciate everybody being on here. This is just the first of many streams. And we got one. We got a couple under the gun here. All right, Billy wants to know Ozuna or Josh Naylor in a utility points league.
Oh, it's got to be Ozuna. I mean, I like Naylor, but there's no way. Ozuna is still undervalued. I don't understand why people. He was the best hitter in the Braves all last season, and people are just. I don't know. Honestly, he should have been drafted higher than Matt Olson in most leagues. But yeah, it's got to be Ozuna. You don't take him out of your lineup.
And then Uwe 2K, Otto Lopez or Edward Xavier, I guess, in a categories league.
Yeah, you got to be Xavier Edwards because the steals. I mean, he's hitting leadoff as well. He'll help you more in batting average, help you more with steals. Lopez is nice, but Edwards definitely for categories.
And then I guess we'll end with this. Brandon with one more. Do you think Bo Bichette can keep it up?
He can. I mean, last year, let's just hope last year was the outlier. And of course, last year was the year I actually drafted him and had him on my TGFBI team. And this year I was like, we'll see. I mean, I don't know what happened last year. It was horrible, but he definitely can. So hold on to him.
All right. And that will do it for us tonight, guys. Thank you. And don't forget, we are going to stream. We do this once during the week, kind of catch up on the things that have happened so far, answer your questions. And we do also do every Sunday, the 2-start streamers. Bomb Squad all the way. Bomb Squad needs to start hitting some bombs. No, not many bombs for the Bomb Squad yet. We'll see what happens.
It's early.
Still early, but the Bomb Squad is kind of slappy, kind of feeling like slappies right now, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, so don't forget, we'll be back probably, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday to stream, and of course on Sundays. And of course, we got videos coming out. We got Panic video coming out tomorrow. I'm sure we'll have a waiver wire video coming out, maybe a buy low, all that stuff to help you guys every week of the season this year to help you take home those victories. So appreciate you guys being on here. Enjoy the rest of the game tonight if you're watching it. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you guys later this week.